can hear
Senator
me.
Booker, take it away.
Yes. First and foremost, I think your call to members on both sides of this committee is important, and unfortunately so, in terms of it even being necessary to say. But I join with you, Senator Durbin, in condemning all types of political violence in our country. We are a nation that must firmly adhere to the ideals of nonviolence and condemn those actors, and they should be held accountable when it does happen. And I'm grateful for you calling on all of us to reaffirm that point. I want to start by talking about firearms on the day of January 6th. Extensive video and photographic evidence shows that rioters on January 6th repeatedly acted violently towards U.S. Capitol Police and D.C. police officers. The rioters carried a variety of different types of weapons, including flagpoles, clubs, hockey sticks, crowbars, chemical sprays, fire extinguishers, knives, bats, stun guns, a firecracker, stolen police gear, and more. A pipe bomb was also discovered next to the Democratic National Committee's headquarters on the afternoon of January 6th, and it's been reported that Vice President-elect Harris was inside the building at the time. The Justice Department's charges so far indicate that dozens of the individuals who assaulted our democracy on January 6th were carrying weapons of some kind. The rioters that day injured 140 officers, some of whom are still dealing with the impact of those injuries and potentially lifetime permanent damage to their bodies. One of the officers on that day, a New Jerseyan, Brian Sicknick, died from the injuries he suffered. And Ms. Sanborn, I understand you previously testified last year that the FBI did not recover any firearms. However, you stated that you were not aware whether the U.S. Capitol Police or the D.C. Police confiscated any guns. Based on the provisional review of the Justice Department's filings, it appears that at least 5 individuals so far have been charged with firearm offenses. These include people who carried a gun onto the Capitol grounds and others who brought a gun with them to Washington. I'd like to offer you the opportunity, Ms. Sanborn, to update your prior testimony. Are you aware of approximately how many firearms were confiscated in connection to January 6th in total, or how many people we know now have had actual firearms? And can you describe the nature of the firearm charges that the Justice Department has filed so far?
Sir, yes, I'll start, and then I'll probably defer to Mr. Olson on quote unquote the charges. And I appreciate the opportunity. As I sit here today, and I think that's important because as we investigate, facts change. I am aware of 5 individuals that had a charge related to a firearm, one of which was arrested by our state and local partners, not within the restricted area, however, on the day of January 6th. There was one other individual who was arrested by our state and local partners in the restricted area on the day of. As a result of our investigation, we uncovered after the fact that 3 others possibly had been in the restricted area with a firearm. So we had evidence suggesting that they came in the restricted area and had on their possession a weapon. So I am aware of all 5 of those and hope that helps clarify. And again, as we continue to follow the facts, some of that could change.
Thank you. I don't know if Mr. Olson wants to add anything to that.
Only, again, Senator, I'm aware, obviously, of the information you cited about how those involved in the attack on the Capitol did bring other weapons, in addition to the ones you're talking about in terms of firearms, other weapons, bats, poles, pepper spray, and the like. And then just the general point, Senator, that one of the lessons we've learned from international terrorism is to take an all authorities approach. So when you look at the kinds of charges that may be brought, they may include firearms charge in a domestic terrorism or domestic violence extremist case. We look at all of the available federal charges that would be supported by the evidence.
And Mr. Olson, very quickly, in your written testimony, you said that we face these obvious domestic violent extremists who espouse a range of ideologies. Some are motivated by racial animus or ethnic animus, religiously so. I'm concerned about a dangerous subset of sheriffs who call themselves constitutional sheriffs. These are law enforcement officials who claim to be the ultimate arbiters of what the law is in their given country. a given county, excuse me. And in their view, that power supersedes that of other elected officials. This is deeply alarming, and it has white supremacist roots and clear anti-government underpinnings. In fact, the founder of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, who for a while was a board member of the far-right extremist group known as the Oath Keepers, called the federal government the greatest threat we face today. And so just really quickly, my time is expiring. What kind of threat do these individuals who call themselves constitutional sheriffs, many of whom are elected officials, really pose to our system of government? And when looking at the threats from domestic violence extremists, does the Department of Justice see movements like the constitutional sheriffs as playing a key role in the radicalization of those who sympathize with anti-governmental views?
And Senator, I am familiar with that group from public reporting. I would say, as a general matter, what we do know is that there has been, particularly over the last year, a significant rise in the threat from anti-government, anti-authority, violent extremists. Again, focused on actions and violence, not on speech, not on ideology, but we have seen a rise in that type of domestic violent extremism over the past a year. So it is an area that we are focused on, along with our partners at the FBI.
And a rise is a relative term. What kind of increase are we seeing?
I don't have specifics on numbers of cases, but it was a marked increase in my conversations with Ms. Sanborn in preparation for this hearing, and in my time and the National Security Division. This has been something that's been reinforced, that this is a threat that's been elevated over the past year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Booker, and I want to thank our witnesses, Mr. Olson and Ms. Sanborn.